on average, just in the United States, about 220 people die every single day from an opiate overdose. And by the time we finish this show, 8 to 10 people are going to die from an opiate overdose. If we get even one person, one viewer with this program that we might be able to help with some of the information that's shared on here, then it's all worth it.
And I'm here with my dog. We had the Future of Artists Summit. I just want to give a shout out. It's anonymous. I'm here with Glenn at the Future Artists Summit. Just want to say, keep following your purpose, keep answering your calling, and fucking turn up.
Yo, it's your boy Hector Soundz. Shout out. I see y'all. Keep grinding.
Man, I'm here with my dog. We had the Future of Artists Summit. I just want to give a shout out.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Dare Me podcast. Glenn Victor here. We are live right now from Sacramento, California. We're at 6 o'clock in the evening. And right out of the gate, we're going to head all the way over to the East Coast in Orlando, Florida, and bring aboard our co-host and producer, Dean Baker, who is live at the Post Effects Digital Studio. We have a great show tonight. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. You're really going to dig the show tonight. We got that boy Soldani as our guest tonight, and we'll be bringing him on live in just a couple minutes. We got some cool videos. We're going to be talking about that Future of Artists Summit that I talk about all the time on this podcast that I attended with that boy Caskey and Anonymass, and we'll be doing a little bit of a recap of that whole event that Soldani and I went to. That's where we met, and we got him on the show tonight. We'll be playing some clips of his music. We got some fun shout outs we're going to do a little bit later, some interesting stories in the opioid crisis news that you're going to want to hang on for. That's coming up a little later on the back end of the show. Some funny memes to wrap it all up, and just a great show lined up tonight. I think you're really going to enjoy it. So as we kind of get into the show a little bit, we always like to take a couple minutes, let people jump on board. I want to send a shout out to, I see we already got a shit ton of people watching the show. Want to remind people we have a chat room, a live chat room that you can jump into if you'd like. And you can comment, you can call in. We'll post the phone number a little bit later in the program if you might want to call in, talk to Soldani live. It's going to be a really fun show, y'all. But before we jump into it all, always like to do just a little bit of a recap of what this show is all about. Going to do a Reader's Digest short version tonight because I'm really excited about getting into that interview with Soldani here in just a little bit, y'all. But this show, this podcast, the Dare Me podcast, sometimes we get people who jump on board for the very first time each week because we are live right now. We're live on a half dozen different Facebook pages, half dozen different YouTube channels. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on X. We're live on Threads, all the things. You get the idea. And a lot of times people just be scrolling and see we're live and click on us like, what's this Dare Me podcast all about? What the hell is that? So if you're new to the show, welcome. And we hope you stay with us. We hope you enjoy the content. So, yeah, that name Dare Me kind of came out of this whole concept of me doing this podcast to talk about my addiction and how I got hooked on them opioid pain medications. It was awful, y'all. It was awful. Long story short, I broke my ankle. They prescribed that shit. I never should have started taking that shit because they have a long history with addiction and struggles with that shit. I was clean for a long time, and I started taking it, and I got hooked. And getting off of that shit was awful, man. Kicking opiates was the worst thing I've ever been through in my life. And so I decided to do this podcast in hopes that we might be able to help somebody going through the same struggles I was when I got hooked on that shit. And like we say in that intro to the show that Dean put together for us, if we can help even one person, then it's all worth it. Because when I was trying to kick, y'all, I was looking for information on how to get through opiate withdrawals online. I was Googling it, searching YouTube, and there's some good shit out there, but there ain't nothing like what we're doing. That's for damn sure. I'll tell you that. So, anyway, that's where that name Dare Me kind of came from. Like, dare me to come out and talk about this shit openly or recover out loud, as they say. And that's what we're trying to do here. And so then we took the letters in that name Dare Me and we made these hashtags you see at the top of the screen. Just kind of all came together. This is the topics we talk about, y'all: drugs, addiction, recovery, enlightenment. We talk a lot about that on the show. Trying to find some enlightenment, spirituality in your life so you have peace and not get a case of the fuck it's and just go out and get high and use and say, fuck it. You know, you got to have some peace in your life, right? And then we also talk a lot on this show about music, and that's going to be the main focus of the show tonight. And we also talk a lot about fitness and exercise because that's such an important part of staying clean and getting clean and living clean, that physical fitness, because addiction, it truly is a mental, spiritual, and physical sickness, y'all. So, anyhow, with all that said, yeah, I got hooked on that shit, but I've been clean. I'm so proud and humble, though, too, to tell y'all that I've been clean for over 2.5 years now. I live drug motherfucking free. And so we do this podcast live every Sunday. And then after we go live, we, of course, post the recorded version on all the different platforms I mentioned. I try to gear people to that Dare Me Podcast YouTube channel because that's the one I oversee. You go to that YouTube channel, if you would, please click subscribe. You click on the videos tab, and all the episodes are there. And believe it or not, this is episode 36, y'all. Fucking blows my mind. I can't believe we've been doing this podcast for that long, but we have. And so, with all that said, right now, y'all, I want to go ahead and bring in our guest tonight. This is that boy Soldani, and right now he's got a couple tunes out there. We're going to play clips from. One's called Drool, one's called Sapphire, and I know he's standing by right now. So, Dean, if we can, let's go ahead and bring Soldani on live. There he is. Hey, bro, can you hear us, man?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. Well, hey, man, we're so excited and happy to have you on the show, man. I just can't thank you enough for agreeing to come on with us. I've been really excited about having you on, bro. And, talking to you about your music. And, I also want to recap a little bit, bro, about how we met. I mentioned that Future of Artists Summit that boy Caskey and Anonymous hosted and put together, man. It was such a cool event. And you and I, as you know, met there briefly and we started following each other on social media. And man, you follow people on social media and you start to, learn a little bit more about them. And I just start thinking, God damn, man, I got a lot in common with this guy because we both were motivated so much by that event, bro. So, talk to me a little bit about how that event got you motivated on your journey to do music and all, bro.
So for years, I mean, I've been practicing writing for years in the rap. Not so much the marketing aspect or, the fame aspect. It was more so like how these people were living their lives, how they were operating, how they were moving, how they're making music with this person, what type of music they're making. And like I used to listen to tons of artists. I don't listen to as much artists in the rap industry now that are, you would say, mainstream. I kind of stay away from that only because I don't like the message that's portrayed now. Like you won't really catch me vibing out to music that's more so about getting fucked up. I mean, I'll listen to them, but like music that resonates now is way more meaningful than music that just you're gonna throw on when you're fucked up. Because I just think it sets the wrong precedent. I think it sets the wrong mindset to their listener. And like, I would say sometimes music is like the number one culprit for a lot of issues that people don't understand. Like I used to listen to Eminem all the time, and I started listening to different music, different genres, and I was less angry. So when I started writing, I started meeting people at shows. That's where I met J Rock. That's where I met Milla, and he's on Sapphire and Drool.
Right.
And it became something I did when I hung out with my boys, the positive environment people. I had to cut out a lot of people back home because they did not give a shit about life and they just wanted to go get fucked up or fuck each other over. So when I went to the summit, that was kind of like, if I don't take anything from this event, this path isn't for me. So we we just transcended from there, and now we're here in a way. I mean, I can touch and elaborate
Yeah.
more on that, but
Well,
the summit was a big eye
well,
opener.
yeah, it was. Well, you know what, bro? I appreciate what you're saying there because, and of course, here's a picture of you up on the stage at the summit with Caskey and Anonymous. And, I was thinking to myself earlier, I don't think anybody has done more to promote that living clean lifestyle more than Cass has since like Eminem came out with the Recovery album. He did a lot to really make it, almost like it was cool to be living clean, and
As it should
healthy.
be, yeah.
And then there was like a lull in it for a while, and of course, man, we start seeing people dropping like Peep and Juice, and it was like, what the fuck,
Mac Miller too. Mac
Cash
Miller.
came
I
out
can't.
with that Final Form. This isn't even my Final Form release, man. That's when he really jumped on the, living clean thing, man. And it's just been such a positive influence on so many people, including yours truly. Same for you, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. I started listening to Caskey, and I'll be honest, about 3 years ago, about 2020.
Hmm.
2021 is when I did a deep dive into his music.
Right.
Um, I was dealing with a bunch of addiction myself, so I had
Hmm.
like always being at the parties with cocaine or Xanax or Klonopins or anything I could get my hands on. That, and I never dabbled in dope, but anything but
Right.
that was kind of like my arsenal, like weapon of choice. I'm not gonna say vice. I'm not gonna say habit. I'm just gonna call it the weapon of choice because
Yeah.
as you get sober, you understand that so many different things change and the fog starts to go away. But when you're in the midst of doing that stuff, you don't see it as a fog. You see it as fuck it. I'm just gonna do it, and then get hit with self realization, and you get hit with so many different things that some people don't make it out of that, and they stay to it.
Yeah.
And I think the message should be like, instead of labeling it as a fog, I think it should be labeled as like, this is your journey. How do you want to live it? How do you want to go about it? Because you're not just affecting yourself, but when you're in those like in the ammunition with the weapon of choice, you're
Hmm.
you're not just robbing yourself. You're robbing your loved ones. You're robbing your friends, your family. But if your friends or family are like the gateway to you doing that, there's a lot more
Hmm.
self-realization that you have to realize, like, I can't fuck with these people anymore if they don't promote my sobriety, because then you don't want them to hold guilt or shame, and then it becomes very selfish. It's like a long-lasting suicide.
Yeah. Well, you know what, bro? We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go into the show because, as a lot of people may know, just this past week, that boy Snoop Dogg announced that he was putting down the weed. And of course, Snoop Dogg, probably about the most famous pot smoker in the world, other than maybe like Willie Nelson. And so we got some stuff coming up about that a little later in the show, and we're going to talk with you about that, Chris. But right now, bro, I wanted to also show this picture and see if you remember these guys that I was at the summit with. There's that boy Neela on the right, and also YHB, Young and Heartbroken in the middle. Brendan, you remember meeting them guys there, don't you?
Yeah, now I do. I did a quick research. I do remember that now.
Yeah, well, we had a ball, man, and there we are outside
Oh, look at that
with your
jacket,
boy
that Grand Theft
Caskey.
Auto
We had a
jacket.
ball there, and of course, there you are with Cass as well. And we had some more pictures of you. There you are with Mass, and then there you are with Tasty. This was at a different event, though, right? This wasn't actually at the summit. And for our listeners and viewers who don't know, Anonymous is a producer and has produced some of Cass's biggest hits, as well as this boy right here, Tasty. Those are probably Caskey's most well-known. No, probably they are his most
They're
well-known
masterminds.
producers.
Those guys are masterminds. I don't see them as producers as much as I see them as masterminds.
Yeah, I agree,
What they do a
bro.
lot behind the scenes is just incredible.
Yeah. Well, and then here you are with that boy Hector Soundz. And for, our listeners and viewers who don't know, Hector is a Grammy-nominated producer, worked together with that boy Post Malone. And God, man, that tune they won. What's that one tune they did?
Waiting for Never.
Yeah, Waiting for Never has over 100 million streams, bro. And as you know, he was our keynote speaker at the VIP dinner at that event, man. So anyway, I just thought I'd show them pictures. I did a little bit of a deep dive into your social media and stuff, and I just thought it was really cool, man. So let's go ahead, because I want to jump into some of your music, man, and talk about that with you. And I don't want to wait too long to get into some of that. So, one of the things that I thought was so cool, bro, is that, this event motivated both of us so much. Like I was saying, it really motivated both of us. And you did a tune with that boy Milla called the Summit Cypher. And we're gonna play it.
J-Rock is with J-Rock's the Cypher, Milla is Sapphire and Jewel.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yep. Okay, so talk to us a little bit about the Summit Cypher, bro. Where did the idea for that come from, and what made you all decide to do that one?
So it was actually more people than we had put on the final track listing or the final song. We had Ty Wing, Kryptonic. We had Bubba C and Easton before they changed to Flipside. And then we had myself and J-Rock and Paul Snyder. And we had all recorded verses for that, but we couldn't get, the legitimates sorted out, audio, latency, where they were going on the track. So we actually video recorded that in LA, in Malibu. And we just put it as me and J-Rock. But we were in the hotel, we were going up the elevator, and I had all these dogs with me. And I was like, yo, we got to make a track tonight. And mind you, I'd never recorded before. So I was more so like, shit, like, let's make something. And like, we were up to like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we made something, but months went on, we were having trouble getting, stems back. We had wicked big trouble getting stems back. So we sat on it. And then me and J-Rock went out to LA for Little Phil's music video coming out, Stars. And I was like, Rock, let's just make a video for this. Let's get it out. I don't want to vault it, because I don't want to vault any of my music. I don't. Like, showing progression is a way bigger journey as a storyteller than vaulting your music. And I'm so early in the music industry that I can't be sitting there holding on to music. And that's something they elaborated in the summit, was not holding back. And you just got to post that music. So
yeah. Well, you know what? Watching the video, I can tell that y'all did it out in Cali. So we'll talk about it some more in a second, but let's go ahead and show this and give it a listen, man. Here's that boy Soldani doing the Summit.
Back at home, they think I'm stopping. That's just some nonsense. I can beat these words at bars till I'm catching charges. They act so cold, guess I won the charges. So tainted poison water. I push it farther, 10 pairs of pliers. We murder liars. This the startup. Summit artists on the rise up. Can't keep me down. I stay ballin' with the finest. Tom Brady with this lineup. I eat the knowledge first. Get ready for the wind up. At home, this circle stroking. My talent's overdosing. It's important that we're potent, putting action into motion. Got Bubba C and Easton closing. Know that we ain't joking. We always fucking working and we never losing focus. 7 of us in no pair cuffs. Hotel lobby say we too loud. None of us are throwing bluff. Neighbors call say we too loud. Cops knocking at the door. They're saying that we too loud. Hell nah, we ain't turning it down. Hell nah, we ain't turning it down. Smashing dreams, no lack of trust. Supply knowledge, they scared of us. Y'all seem too delirious. I'll smash your brains so you leaking some. Critical mind that'll leave your mind fucked. Some of the 7 will leave you fucked.
Yeah, man, that's the shit, bro. I love it, man. I love it. And so, like I said earlier, I stand corrected. That was you and J Rock, and then Milla is on Drool and Sapphire, which we're going to be playing in a little bit. So, yeah, man, I really appreciate you giving us the insight and kind of the background. I'm always fascinated to hear stories behind, the inspiration of a song and shit. But bro, you spitting on that one, man.
I try to come with heat every time. I don't know. It's just like something about me that I'm not going to post anything if I think it's trash. But I feel like that's a lot for everybody.
Well, I loved it, man. And, I want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into the summit, if that's okay with you, bro, because that thing, as we've talked about, was so inspirational. It certainly motivated me to start this podcast. And like I said, man, we're into episode 37 now, is it? 36, 37. I fucking lost track. Motivated you to do that song and video we just saw, but it's motivated so many others to, level up as they were teaching us at the podcast and shit, or at the summit, I mean. And, when I first heard about that thing, I was a little bit sus. And I talked to Mass about it on the phone. And, I was kind of feeling him out to see, okay, is this a money grab? I've been to my share of conferences where I thought, okay, this thing was kind of a waste of my time. But nothing could have been further from the truth. Every single person I met there and spoke to, and even after the fact, all still talk about how value added it was, man. It truly was a great event. And so I know you feel the same, bro. Like I said, I know we follow each other on social media, and that's why I said, man, I got to get that boy Soldani on here because we have so much in common. And one of them is how we just feel like the summit was so value added. So if it's cool with you, bro, I'm going to go ahead and play this video. This is about a 5-minute video, and then we'll have you back on to talk some more. Cool?
Perfect. That's going to let me check into my hotel, dog.
All right, bro. Yeah, we got Soldani while he's on the road, and this will give you a minute to get settled, and then we'll have you back in just a moment. So check this out, y'all.
Too much to handle. I don't play with my. We ain't scared of no police.
Caskey and Anonymass. Hold this off!
I'm feeling excited about the speech and talking to the kids. The mission is pure, so
It's life changing.
oh, it's game time. It's show time. It's time to get this shit going.
Who's happy to came to the workout?
I heard you guys are the future of artists. Is that right?
Is that right? Yes, I want to give an impact. I want to change the world. I want to create a ripple effect. That door that you may open, that number, that contact, that Instagram, that YouTube, whatever, may be that fucking change in your life.
You really care about your career, you really care about what you want to do with your life, invest, come here, and you're going to learn everything about it.
Everyone is going to leave this event unstoppable. You guys are going to leave changed. You guys are going to have a new sense of motivation. Imagine all the stars that had to align for Caskey and I to be here putting on this event. Just imagine his life, the pain he went through, my life, the pain I went through. Pull up for yourself, consistent every day, even on the days you don't want to make music. The days that you don't want to do it, that's when you should be doing it the most.
Anonymous, Caskey, Hector, everybody, they really made it worth the time.
More fucking mind blowing.
Let's bring out the man himself, the black sheep, Caskey. Let's
Came up with this idea 6 months ago. This is my shit right here. Seeing shit in your mind come to life. It's not our job to decide when we get our praise, when we get our flowers, when God decides we win.
Fame or impact? What do y'all want? Yeah! Motherfucking right, dude.
The one of you that's got the fucking sharpest vision, you just follow it to a T and you don't change it, you're gonna be the one to fucking win. I believe in y'all. My name is Caskey. Thank you for having me.
Nothing happens at an opportune time, like Caskey said. You got to be able to work under pressure. Know that you're taking those chances and it's going to pay off at the back end. It doesn't matter. Every person we meet here is going to change our life and make us progress to the next level.
It was such a great experience for the first day. The energy was crazy. I wish it was even longer than 2 days.
It felt literally like my heart and my mind worked together for the first time ever. I'm leaving a much better human being than I was.
To have Caskey and Anonymass sit down and go through how they got where they are, personally for me, that was everything.
Caskey's event, which is the future of artists, and these are musicians and producers and those that want to just be in the industry, but it's more than just about the music industry. This is really about that checkup from the neck up, what it really takes to make it, and then to stay at the top, the perseverance, the resiliency. That's what this event is about. My biggest goal as I get up on stage with this crowd, with this audience, is to instill in them that they deserve nothing, that everything in life is earned. Every single thing in life is earned, and you get what you tolerate. And so I'm gonna get them to turn up their toleration level. The more work ethic they have, the more resiliency they show, the more they're gonna make and the greater impact they're gonna have.
You can put yourself on the wavelength you need to be to succeed. And that's really what's hit me today.
We're here on a motherfucking mission to shine our light.
Mental health show with a hip-hop aspect, and then they brought in the business.
I just want to thank everybody who attended the Future of Artists Summit.
Together right now to help push each other, and Caskey is providing a space for that. So I just want to say thank you to him and thank you to everyone else who put this on. And this is how we change artists' lives and then change the lives of everyone else who's listening to us.
That is the Future of Artists logo. And, we had this little like chat group of like a shit ton of the people that attended that thing. And, people are in there every day commenting on different things and all. And so anyways, bro, this logo has really become a thing to the point where you actually got the tattoo of the logo. Is that right, bro?
Yeah, I did. We did it after the first night. We got the logo tatted. One of my tattoo artists, J Rock the Gypsy, out of Oxford Ink Tattoo in Jacksonville, Florida.
Right.
You'll find them on Instagram, Facebook, Google. J Rock tatted me and Teddy K and himself. Sorry, I'm messing with the camera.
Oh, there it is. Yep. I love it, man. Well,
Beat Caskey to the punch.
I think, it just goes to show, bro, that speaks volumes again about how impactful this event was, man. It was just so cool that, everybody loved it so much. And I don't mean to keep going on and on about it, but I just want our viewers and listeners to get an idea of just how impactful this thing was about leveling up to your A game and how it motivated you to take your music to the next level, bro, and again motivated me to get this podcast started. And so, like I mentioned, I went there with that boy Shebang and Brendan, Neela, YHB are their stage names. And I couldn't resist showing these videos. And I texted them both today to say, hey, man, y'all should jump on the podcast because I'm going to talk about you guys and show these videos. And let's just give them a look and a listen, bro. I'm sure you'll appreciate this as well. So this is one of Caskey. That was so cool about it. Like after we went into the sessions of the conference and shit, we'd be hanging out in the hallway of the hall and stuff. And they had like a step and repeat graffiti banner where people get their pictures and shit. But Cass was out there literally listening to people's music, like right on their phones and shit. And you'll see what I'm talking about. Let's watch this video right here, y'all. Check it out.
There go Cat. He listening to your stuff. There you go. There you go. That's right. There go Caskey listening to Shebang stuff here at the conference, man. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Brendan, you got to make sure he gets your stuff too, bro.
I'm already hit.
Fuck yeah.
You got that rock star shit.
Didn't I tell you he was the shit? I told you, bro.
It's easy to follow, bro.
Yeah, so that was cool as hell, man. I mean, here you got this international superstar rapper and artist at this conference, you know, just being so cool, so approachable, and, you know, literally helping people to level up their game. And so let's watch the next one. Here's that boy Brendan.
All right, there go Caskey vibing Brendan's music. Fuck yeah, he's loving it too, man. Hell yeah. Here we are at the conference. Look at all these motherfuckers are waiting. Oh, hell yeah. Brendan, what song is he vibing right now?
Apocalyptic Love.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, you can tell he's liking that.
Love.
Fuck yeah. The man.
Apocalyptic Love. We got to get YHB on the show sometime. But anyway, Soldani, you get what I'm saying, man. It's like these guys put this thing on and truly had everyone else's best interest at heart, and were really trying to help people take their game to the next level. And I've talked about it on this show many times before, bro, how, you know, when I was a younger man, I wish some of the artists that are at the level or were at the level of Cass and Anonymous would have done something like this, man. It's like they were always so fucking untouchable. And these guys are being so cool, so approachable, trying to help people sincerely, trying to help young artists get out there, do their thing, make a living at making music, sharing the things that they tried that didn't work for them, sharing the things that did, you know, all that kind of stuff, man. It was just fucking cool, you know. So I know you're on the same page with me with all that, for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, bro, let's go into one of the things that, again, you know, they motivated you to do with your recording music. This is another song from that boy Soldani, y'all. And this one is called Drool. We're going to go ahead and play the clip, and then we'll talk to you more about it after we give this one a look and a listen. Check it out, y'all.
Wake up in the morning, I glance out and try to see the sun. My phone is like a desert, the blazing heat's like a scorching gun. Throwback to the days where we only rode bikes or just talked about sports or a chick that we like. Y'all make me wanna drink, I don't need a chaser. Shout out last year, the pain inside has left me quite angered. I worked till I collapsed. One thing I know, I'll never waver. Sign the dotted line and call me the savior. You in a room of danger, yo. I never say never while waiting forever to a time and a place to achieve a behavior to kill all the dark. Bring me new favors, creating new layers of crazy creation. The world full of hatred, come at me, you're not favored. Lay the last line, we know you faking. What's up, Miller? You just killed that shit, huh? Yeah, shout out to Hampshire. My old homie said this boy can rap. You ain't got nothing.
Yeah, I love it, man. And you know, I just dig the tune, bro. So talk to us a little bit about that song. What was the inspiration for it? You and Miller working on that together. Tell us all about it, man.
So me and Miller were looking up beats in at the Oxford Ink studio in Jacksonville, and we were really influenced by watching movies with the sound off by Mac Miller.
Okay. Yep.
The song Star Room.
Yeah.
It's kind of got the same cadence to it. And I was like, yo, let's just do this one. This one sounds funky. Like, I want to go off on this one. But for me, I mean, Miller always is going to show up. He's part of Faded Amore. in Orlando. So there's tons of guys there. Faded More on Instagram, Making of Miller on Instagram, etc. I got to shout the boys out down there in Hillside Studio 407.
Yeah, Hillside Studios.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where y'all recorded it, right?
Yep. Well, not Drool. Sapphire we did, but Drool we did it in
Okay.
Oxford Inc. But
Oh, right. Okay.
so I had my verse. I kind of tooled it around a little bit, but that was kind of like, for me, that was like my ego song, my ego tune. You know what I mean? Like that lyric where I say, "Wake up in the morning, I glance out and try to see the sun. My phone is like a desert, the blazing heat's like a scorching gun." So that
Right.
plays on to, like, you wake up in the morning, right? The first thing you see is the sun blazing in your eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Right.
You check your phone.
And I think everybody does. Yeah.
Right. So you wake up in the morning, you're checking your phone. You ain't got no text from a girlfriend, no text from a friend, no text. Maybe you got Snapchats, but that's irrelevant. And your phone's dry. And if your phone is as dry, it's gonna be hot, like the desert. And if you touch a scorching gun after you shoot a bullet, it's gonna sizzle. It's gonna be hot.
Mm.
So, the blazing heat's like a scorching gun.
Right.
Because, yada yada yada. But but I pissed off some people with that song, and I'll be very transparent on that.
Hey, is what it is.
Going into that song, I had a friend for 20 years, and we had a falling out. I'm not going to elaborate on that. I'm not going to give that any airtime. But he had
Yeah.
said to a mutual friend who came back to me, he's like, "Oh, well, I talked about you, man. And I said you've been doing shit with music." But he hit it with "Oh, well, my cousin raps too." And I was like, "Your cousin raps too, huh?" I was like, "All right, well, let's see his rebuttal." My old homie in New Hampshire said his boy can rap. He ain't got nothing. And that's where I felt pressed as my character, Soldani. So Soldani is my rap name, but it's also my last name. But it's
Right. Right.
my brand. My brand is Soldani isn't just the name. It's a lifestyle.
Right.
So I kind of got a hair across my ass, and I was like, you know what? Like, I need an ad lib. I need something at the end to fit with the Soldani image, the edginess, the in your face. Like, I'm not going to forget about this. I'm not
Right.
going to forget this at all.
Well, bro, I just love hearing stories like that, man, and I really appreciate what you said talking about the whole lifestyle. It's like, in case you haven't noticed, bro, I intentionally wore this t-shirt tonight, and I see you got on your Black Sheep merch too. And it's just like with Cass, man, it truly is. It's like a lifestyle, man. It's like I got the one shirt that says Black Sheep Cult, and it's like a family, it really is. And it is. It's like a lifestyle of living, drug free now, leveling up, staying fit, bringing your A game every fucking day. No excuses. Just do it. That whole kind of thing, man. And so I just love hearing the insight into different songs and the inspiration for them and stuff. And I really appreciate you sharing that on the Tune Drool, bro. So let's talk about this next one
This one's
because
my favorite.
yeah,
Sapphire
me
is
too,
definitely my
bro.
favorite.
And yeah, y'all used a remix of that 90s banger Return of the Mac. So talk to us a little bit about this one, bro. What was behind the inspiration for this?
Honestly, Miller wanted to make like a girl song, he kind of wanted to make like a love song. And
Okay.
I was like, I don't know, man, because like, I kind of pulled from, what I was going through in life. And I had just met a girl, and, I'm still with that girl. And she's with me right now as I'm, doing this podcast, and we're approaching the hotel room and whatnot. But that's what I could pull from. It was, I walked in the studio with no mindset on what I was going to make. I just emptied the brain case. I just let it rip. So like Sapphire is the color of her eyes. So that's where I
Oh,
got the
right on.
name.
Well, hey, shout out to your girl, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. She
Well, hey, man,
gives me the world. So
you got a lyric in here that I actually made a note because I wanted to mention it, man. I just love it where you say "moonwalk across my mind." I thought
yeah,
that was,
kind of like a throwback. You got the Michael Jackson moonwalk. You got,
yeah,
I've heard it from various artists talking about moonwalking. So for me, it was like it kind of fit there, and like instead of running across my mind, or your legs are getting tired because you're running on my mind all day, whatever. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw the moonwalking on my mind type thing, because it hasn't been said before. I don't think so. I haven't heard it. If people want to correct me, they can do that. But that's where I got the inspiration for that bar. And
All right. Well, let's go ahead and give it a listen. Now, there's no video for this yet.
yeah,
Are y'all planning on doing one just out of curiosity?
I'm coming out to LA next month, and I'm gonna be shooting a video.
Right. Yeah, you mentioned that to me off the air, man. We're going to try to get together and have lunch when you're out here. But let's go ahead and give a listen to a clip from Sapphire with Soldani and Miller.
Back in the day when I ain't have nothing, lady in my life, I think I'm going back to love and switching up my life. You think that I am done for running, treat it like a race. I know that the trophy's coming, standing on my toes. Said he finding flows, just a rookie rap, 1,000 hours old. Y'all can get exposed, call me after hours. Phone is like a toll, tells you at the tone. Promise you'll expose them lies you feed and told. Let me see you grow from the crop you grew a rose. Marinate my brain, I do not fear a load. Yeah, I wanna love this woman cause the dedication's owed. Show you that I care, we can travel around the globe. Ammo in the chamber, I got love in the scope. Focus on the target, dedicated to our goals. Got us to a God, I can't ever let her go. In the red lights, tell me later, that's the shit I like. Girl, relax, you're fine, beautifully divine. How you ease my mind, serenade your heart while I ease your mind. Wasn't looking when I found you, coming rent space inside my mind. Swept me off my feet, moonwalk across my mind. What you are to me, huh? You're divine to me, that's right. Them sapphire eyes, shit that light up my life.
All right, I love it. Hey, to all our viewers and listeners, if you're just joining us or maybe jumped on a little bit late, we got that boy Soldani, rapper and hip hop artist Soldani out of New Hampshire with us live on the Dare Me podcast today. And we just played a clip from one of his latest releases, man. It's called Sapphire that he did a collab with Milla on. And man, that one is definitely bumping, man. Just really dig that tune. And as you could tell, if you're paying close attention, and it's to a remix of that old school 90s banger, Return of the Mac. So, hey, Soldani, if you would, bro, talk to us a little bit about how y'all ended up using that beat and that whole thing, bro.
So Milla's boy Rod, we were talking at his apartment earlier in the day, and he was like, "Yo, you guys got to do like a '90s banger." He said, "Milla, you got to do a '90s banger," and I was just like, "All right, well, we can do that," but we were basically, we were in the studio. I was trying to do a Kendrick Lamar beat. That was my first guess, and so we get in the studio. Milla is sitting there going through beats, and he found the remix of Return of the Mac. So I was just like, all right, well, I mean, let's do it. And it took me longer than Drool to make and write, because it was a different tone and a different precedent that was set. And so it took a lot of rehearsing. It took a lot of finding a flow. So, I mean, when we did that, it was more intimate, like I said, I could only pull from one spot of my life. And that was, I just met a girl, and I'm not going to elaborate too much on that story. That's close to me. That's my thing. But
real. Yep.
I won't talk on dating sites anymore after that. That's all I'll say with that.
I got you. Well, hey, by the way, bro, for those that maybe are just joining us or, jumping in a little bit late, we want to thank you again for coming on with us tonight, bro, because, we had this, planned ahead of time. And, you had an unexpected call to go out of town. And so, as you can tell, y'all, Soldani is literally
Soldani's always on the road. Soldani is always on the road.
Right now at the hotel on the road. But instead of canceling or postponing, he still jumped on with us and was committed to doing the podcast with us. So we really appreciate it, bro.
Obligations are obligations.
No. We really do, man. We really do. Well, hey, I want to talk to you about something else because, as I mentioned earlier, we follow each other on social media, and after following someone for a while, you start to learn things about them and all, and that's when I started realizing, man, I got a lot in common with this guy. I got to get him on the podcast, and so I wanted to show this next photo because here you are with that boy Yellow Wolf, and so
That's
I
an old
know
one.
he
That's an
was
old
out.
photo.
Yeah, this is a cool photo. He was out doing some promo for his whiskey Creek Water, and it looks like you went to one of his, VIP events and got a chance to meet him there. So talk to us about that a little bit.
So he did his Creek Water bottle signing back in 2019, but I was on
Yep.
probation. And
Oh,
since I was
okay.
on probation, I couldn't drink. So I had my homies actually drink the liquor. And then I brought the bottle empty. And I was like, hey, guys, like, I need you to drink this so he can at least sign it. And so he was like kind of weirded out on that. I brought an empty bottle, but I ended up re-meeting Yellow Wolf a couple months ago where I met my boss at work. And that's who I work for now. I met my boss at a Yellow Wolf Caskey show 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago.
Right, right.
So, I mean, that's
In
now
fact,
why I'm on the road.
I don't know if you can see the slide, but this is the event you're talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, at Toad's place, and there's another picture of you with him. That was when you met him there, right?
Yeah, I met him there. That's 4 years later. So you can see like the growth in the both of us, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I tried stage diving in that video or at that show.
Well, hey, bro, I got a little bit of a surprise for you. You didn't know this. So I've never met Yellow Wolf, but watch this video because my son did. He is a huge Yellow Wolf fan. He turned me on to Yellow Wolf, and we actually went to see him at a club in Orlando when he first came out with Pop the Trunk and Daddy's Lambo and all that. And my son and his wife Awana got him to give me a shout out. So check out this short video clip. You'll get a kick out of this, bro. Check this out, y'all.
Looking forward to it. More unique than my other locations. Sip on it carefully.
Hey, so his dad's really into your music as well.
So my dad, Papa G, he put him on the music.
That's what we like to call him.
I do now, so that's how you give him a shout out.
Papa G. Appreciate it.
Nice one.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you wrapping up now.
Yeah, man, we're getting out of here, man.
Yeah, bro. So I couldn't resist showing you that, Soldani, because my son and his buddies, even when they were younger, they gave me that nickname, Papa G. Because I'm a little bit older, but I often say, man, I refuse to grow up. And as my son says, Dad, growing up is overrated. So, you can kind of tell from the video there, bro. He's more around, like you're in Cass's age group or whatever. But I couldn't resist showing you that video because, like I said, man, when I saw you with these pictures with Yellow Wolf, I'm like, damn, bro, I gotta show him that video on the podcast, So anyway, I also wanted to show you this, man, because I'd like to hear a little bit more. You talked about, stage diving at Toad's place. That place sounds like the coolest place, and I'm going to tell you a little trivia here. Check this out. My favorite artist in the whole wide world, like I just mentioned, I'm a little bit older generation, y'all, but the Rolling Stones back in 1989 did a pre-tour show there, and they've been known for this over the years. Before they go on tour, they'll do like a small club just to kind of get the kinks out of the system, if you will, and get warmed up for their big tour. And here they did a pre-tour show for the Steel Wheels tour, which was like a huge tour. That was a fucking great album at that place in Connecticut there, Toad's place, bro. So little trivia about that place. I don't know if you knew that or not, man, but it sounds like a cool club.
I definitely studied the venue beforehand. Definitely did.
Right. Well, I just love going to shows at these smaller places, man. And I tell you what, bro, we're talking about other artists now. We talked about Yellow Wolf a little bit and talked about the Rolling Stones. So I think as a good transition into something we teased a little bit earlier on the show, let's talk now about that boy Snoop Dogg and the announcement he made this past week. He posted this on social media. It says, after much consideration and conversation with my family, I've decided to give up smoke. Please respect my privacy at this time. And then, of course, people start posting all this other stuff. This is from Sky News. Rapper Snoop Dogg quit smoking after years of marijuana use. Then, of course, this was a little play off of his Drop It Like It's Hot, dropping it like it's hot. Snoop Dogg says he's given up smoking. So, some people out there don't believe it and think it might be a marketing gimmick. I don't know. What's your take on it, bro? What do you think?
I don't think he's going to stop smoking. I think he's trying to promote an edible brand. I also think that maybe he was too high. So that happens to all of us. I mean, that's why I don't smoke as much anymore, because the walls start talking to me and stuff, and it gets too out of hand. But I think it is a publicity stunt. I don't want to disrespect Snoop, but it just adds up. It just adds up.
Well, hey, bro, I appreciate your honesty. And then, of course, people start posting these funnier memes like, here's a picture of him, ain't no more weed. And then here's one of him going through withdrawals, day one, no weed. That's how you look when you're going through fucking opiate withdrawals and shit. But anyway, bro, I wanted to play this next video, because if he is serious, see, I'm on the fence. I'm thinking, well, maybe he's for real, maybe he ain't. But if he is serious, he's going to have to practice what he preaches in this video. Check this out.
It's not personal for me to tell you, hey, Ryan, I love you, but we can't kick it no more, dog. I'm on this path and you on that path. Just maybe the family. It may be the homie, it may be mama, maybe daddy, it may be whoever it is, but we have to make it the ultimate decision to know that we got to carry this baggage and we got to do all of this work, so we need to make sure that our circle is right, starting with us first. It's okay to pat yourself on the back and give yourself credit, because you're the one that's going to have to do all of this work. I know how to lock and load on what I need to be doing. And if that means cutting you out or getting rid of you because you're not an asset and you're a liability, then that's what it is. It's not personal, it's business. What are they going to say? Fuck what they going to say.
Right.
You the one got to do all this work, so it's about you and your mental. So keep your mind straight.
Yeah, keep your mind straight. So like you said, bro, no disrespect to Snoop. People are just posting these funny memes. And, I kind of, knowing what I know about him, tend to think that, yeah, this very well may be a marketing kind of thing to get some attention. But if he is serious and for real, he is going to have to, kind of practice what he preaches in that video there and learn to be setting boundaries with people that are still smoking. Because, as a recovering person myself, I can't be around people getting fucked up like that all the time. I can be around people drinking. That don't really bother me. It's just I have to have a way out if I choose to. If I get uncomfortable, it's like, all right, y'all, well, be cool. I got to go. You know what I mean? Drinking's a little different than being around people smoking, because that shit's in the air and it smells good. It's so easy to just take a toke or whatever the fuck. But the point is, if you're a chronic pot smoker like Snoop's been for years, I'm sure a lot of people in his circle are also smokers. And he very well may, if he's serious about this, he very well may have to do what he just talked about in that video and say, hey, bro, we can't hang no more if you're going to be smoking, because I don't want to be around that shit, Yeah, so anyway, I also thought we'd show this, bro, if you don't mind. This is a video that we talking about that boy Caskey. He saw what Snoop posted, and so he ended up, because as you may recall, when Caskey put down the weed, he put it out there on social media and he took some shit from some people. And he talks about that in a post he made just this past week. So let's talk about that after we play this clip. Check.
I just want to say that when I quit smoking and started talking about the positive benefits of it, I got attacked by everybody in the stoner community. Everybody was like, dude, fuck you, weeds are so good for me, blah, blah, blah. Now that y'all see Meek Mill and Snoop Dogg doing it, everybody's going to be like, well, okay, maybe they're on to something. Dude, fuck that, dude. We've been on this wave.
Yeah, we have. And like I said earlier, y'all, I think like since Eminem put the Recovery album out, I don't think anybody has been more of an influence in the rap and hip hop world, with inspiring people to live clean than since Cass really put out This Isn't Even My Final Form with tunes like Rock Bottom and Sinner Like Me. And, I just and as you may recall, bro, he took some shit, like he said when he came out about putting the weed down and how it stunts your creativity and shit like that. And I know Wiz Khalifa and him got into a little back and forth on that, man. So, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit too, bro, because you posted this picture when you were down in LA, and I just thought it was a good transition from everything we were just talking about. And as you can see, the photo says your body is a battleground. And bro, can I relate to that? It's like I am my biggest competition when it comes to staying away from the dope, to leveling up at the gym, leveling up with my creativity, doing the music and shit like that. And so, bro, you talked a little bit about, some of the struggles or challenges of you've had with addiction. So talk to us a little bit about your mindset when it comes to that whole thing.
So that for me wasn't a deep image for me. I'll be honest. I really admired the just the how it's like negative, positive.
Yeah. Oh, I love the contrast there of the face and the negative. But again, what it says there, I think, was just a good transition from like if Snoop is for real about putting the dope down, man, he's going through it right now. His body is like adjusting to that shit. His mind is adjusting to it. And you were a little bit open with us earlier on the show that you've had your ups and downs with, substance use and shit. So, what's your take on that, man? For people who may be watching this podcast, bro, because we do get a lot of people, that jump on board every week, maybe even for the first time, who are struggling with substance abuse. We've even talked with some of the artists we've had on the past about, do you think it enhances your creativity? Does it stunt your creativity? Just give you a different approach to it? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's environment. It's all environment. That's like my biggest preaching thing. Is I had to cut a lot of people off. I mean, looking back, I'm glad I cut them off. But environment is everything when it comes to addiction and drugs.
Yeah, I believe that, man. That we are and can certainly be a product of our environment. There's an old saying around, the 12-step programs and shit that you can't run from your problems. Wherever you go, there you are and shit like that. I'll also say, I firmly believe this, that there's a lot to be said for removing yourself from a particular environment, getting away from the fucking dope, man, or the plug or whatever, relocating, man, that can make a huge difference. So I do agree with you on that, bro. It's kind of like what Snoop was talking about in that video we just watched. Sometimes you got to set boundaries with people, man, especially if you're trying to make a huge lifestyle change like that. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
Well, hey,
you really
bro.
gotta love yourself. You really gotta love yourself, and like if you really want to do something, stop hitting up that plug. Stop hanging out with the people that are gonna troll you for doing that drug. Stop hanging out with the people that are gonna troll you for, come on, just do it once. I'm not gonna elaborate much on that, but
Well, you know what? We're going to be talking about some stuff in the news here after we let you go, bro. And
my phone's at 5%. I winged it, you know what I mean? But I'll always come back on this show.
Oh, yeah,
always.
bro. Well, what I was gonna say is, that fentanyl ain't no fucking joke right now. So,
No,
it's
dude,
like,
it's no joke.
man,
People are pressing Adderall. They're pressing fentanyl, dude. It's fucking disgusting, dude.
yep.
It's horrible ass people.
All right. Well, hey, bro, before we let you go, I got to razz you about something. And I know your phone's about to go, bro, but I had to show this picture. I've been talking about how you and I have things in common, and I learned that by following you on social media. Here you are at a Celtics game. And so you may remember this, man. I'm watching, the fucking NBA playoffs, and I'm rooting for the Heat because my son lives in Miami, and I'm a short guy.
Love
And,
you, Glenn. I knew you were gonna do this.
yeah, I had to razz you a little bit because you posted something
Oh.
like "fuck the Heat" and all their fans or whatever. And you know what, though, bro? I love you for it because you know what? I love Boston, man, because I hate the fucking Yankees or any of them New York teams. I love the city, but I hate the fucking Yankees, man. And so
Hey,
any Boston fan is a friend of mine, bro.
sometimes I hate Boston. You can find me on Barstool acting an idiot, but like, oh man, yeah, I remember you were rooting for the Heat, and like, I kept it cordial to everybody that got to
Yeah,
experience
I
my team
don't.
choke.
I don't live there, but my son does. So, and of course, as you know, man, it wasn't just the Heat that made it to the playoffs. It was the Panthers in the
Oh,
NHL, too,
doubling
and
up
both
on
of
me
them
too.
lost. Yeah, they both didn't make it. But hey, man, anyway, I had to razz you about that a little bit. Before we cut you loose, though, man, I wanted to post this. Here's we pulled your Insta, so here's your contact information. If anybody wants to go follow our boy Soldani and check out more of his music, there's a link there. So just real quick, if you would, bro, what's your plans moving forward? You got any projects in the cooker right now that are going to be coming out soon? Where are you going from here, man?
Where I go from here is wherever the wind takes me. That's what I always say. Like, I'm not gonna be able to predict anything with the music. I know I got some ideas cooking. Talked to Archangel a little bit this week because I've been staying in Connecticut in his range, in his area. So I might try to see if we can cook up something. But right now, it's probably the Sapphire music video. That's probably
Yeah,
next. And then
cool.
try to have an EP done by March of just like 4 or 5 songs. I got a big project idea coming out, but I'm not going to spoil that because I don't want, you know,
Yeah.
I'll let it ride when it rides. So
Well, bro, I love it, man. And like we said, when you come out here to Cali, man, LA's a little bit of a drive from me, but hey, I'd love to get together, have lunch, kick it, man, see you in person. I'm excited for the video, for Sapphire and excited just to see what you're going to do moving forward, man. And I can't thank you enough for taking the time you did with us today, especially after being called out of town short notice and not bailing on us at the last minute and still doing the podcast like from the road, walking through your hotel. That's a real one, bro. I'll never forget it, man. I really appreciated that.
work harder than most.
Right on.
So that's just how it is. Work harder than most.
You got it, bro. Well, hey, thanks again, man. Go do your thing tonight, and we will talk to you soon. Hope you have on the podcast again down the road. Thanks again, man.
Thanks, Glenn.
All right, peace.
Peace.
All right. How about that, Dean? We had that boy Soldani on the Dare Me podcast tonight. How cool was that? What a great guest, eh?
Yeah, you had to go to sports on him.
Yeah,
you knew that was gonna throw him, huh? Yeah.
I had to razz him a little bit because he reminds me a lot of myself in so many ways, man. Like he even talked about, he's got that little. It's like the Soldani lifestyle where he's got that little edge to him and shit. And I'm kind of the same way, man. It's like
Yeah, I can relate to him. I guess I will always deep down be a Celtics fan because, but I used to watch when I watched the Celtics. It was Larry Bird, Danny Ainge. It was Kevin McHale. Was it McHale? I don't know. There's and they were playing. It was Bird against Magic.
Pistons and that whole era. Yeah.
So
but it was
days.
just funny because I remember when, I'm a Detroit fan, as you know. I love the Tigers and the Lions and the Red Wings and the Pistons. And a lot of people don't know this, but the Detroit Tiger New York Yankee rivalry, it's not at the level of the Boston Red Sox Yankees rivalry, but it's right up there, man. It's
Oh yeah.
definitely a rivalry. And so when Boston had the so-called, curse of the Bambino going on for so long, man, there were so many of us that just were so sick and tired of the cocky Yankee fans. Hey, I love all my folks in New York. I just don't like the Yankees, man. And so, Dean, I think I shared this on this podcast once before. I was working at a bar in Longwood when I still
Yeah.
lived in the Orlando area up there at like 434 and Rangeline. It was called Starters. And
I
the
remember that
night,
bar.
yeah, the night that Boston beat the Yankees. And if you remember that series, man, the Yankees were up 3 games to none, and Boston came back and beat them, won 4 in a row to knock them out. There were literally Boston fans at that bar in tears, bro. I am
Yeah.
not making that up, man. And then, of course, they went on to win the World Series that year. So the point I'm making is, man, I used to post shit too, like fuck the Yankees and all that stuff. And so I had to razz, Soldani
Hmm.
there a little bit about, he was pretty pissed off, when the Celtics got knocked out. But anyway, there's his contact information, y'all. What a great guest. Go check him out on Insta, and again, you'll find links there in his bio. You can follow his YouTube channel, his music, and all that other stuff. And yeah, man, we hope to have him on the podcast again a little bit down the road. So, this next slide, y'all, I wanted to show this because we've been talking about that Future of Artists Summit and all the great people that I met there. And if you're a regular follower of the Dare Me podcast, you may remember a while back we had that boy Dustin Warbear, shout out Warbear, on the show, and he's doing a show with that boy Ace Wild, who's also been on the podcast. He called in the night Warbear was on and chatted with us, and they're doing a show on November 29th in Madison, Wisconsin. And you can see Ace Wild posted this, so I thought I'd pull it and show it on the show and plug their show coming up a little bit. And definitely hope to have Ace Wild on the show down the road. And Dean, you may remember Warbear. He actually created our logo for this show. So, just another thing that came out of that Future of Artists Summit. In addition to being a great rapper, man, he's also a graphic design artist and designed our logo for the show. So moving along, y'all. Once again, thank you to Soldani for coming on with us. How cool was that of him coming on with us, Dean, when he got called out of town unexpectedly? He could have very easily just postponed or canceled or bailed on us, and he did it anyways from the road, walking down the hall of his hotel. We had a little, touchy connection from time to time, but I thought the interview went great, and really appreciated him doing that. So anyway, moving on, y'all, we're going to go into the news now. Like we teased at the beginning of the show, some interesting stories in the opioid crisis news this week. And not to go into politics and all that shit, y'all, because we don't do that on this show. However, we, of course, had to mention this week that, China's leader visiting, I always get the name mixed up. Is it Xi Jinping? I think is how they pronounce it. Anyway, he met with President Biden in San Francisco. And one of the things that they discussed and hammered out, apparently, was China's agreement to try to slow the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. But it's not expected to necessarily solve the opioid epidemic. As you can see here, a little bit more of the article. Experts say new steps that China has agreed to will eventually reduce the flow. Not anything that's going to happen overnight, but they're going to try to cut down or crack down, if you will, on the chemicals used to make fentanyl being shipped out of China into mainly Latin America and Mexico specifically, where they're making this fentanyl now and shipping it over the border into the U.S. And then, one of their spokespersons, these agencies, these think tank agencies said it's a step in the right direction because not doing anything at this point would be negligent, especially during a meeting between, these two powerful leaders from China and the U.S. So let's hope that at some point it does start to make a difference. I'm just glad to see that it's, on the, agenda and that whole top of mind awareness thing. So, of course, we had to mention that. This story here caught my attention this week, y'all. This is out of the New York Times, and it talks about this monster drug, super meth. And with the whole opioid crisis kind of taking, all the spotlight and attention in the whole drug use world, this article focused on how other drugs are just as rampant, but not getting the kind of attention that the opioid crisis is right now. And they're calling it a monster, this super meth. And so, I'm not going to read to y'all, but, here it talks a little bit about the spread of the super meth. And it was interesting. It's a New York Times article, but they kind of focused on this area in Michigan of Kalamazoo, where in, this previous picture here, you see a picture of, these homeless people out in the woods who are all strung out on drugs and shit, y'all. And, it talks about how the methamphetamine and cocaine problem is multiplying as well. And, it's just unbelievable some of the stuff that's going on here in that middle paragraph there, y'all. It says in the last 5 years, overdose deaths involving methamphetamine have tripled, and those linked to cocaine have doubled. So, what's going on here? Because we talk all the time about the opioid crisis and the fentanyl crisis and everything, but these other drugs are taking people out left and right as well. And it even talks about other things like Valium and Xanax and shit. And so here was an explanation that they gave in this article a little bit, that younger people, if you will, tend to avoid the drug that is currently causing a crisis and getting all the attention. So, of course, that is the opioid crisis right now. So people are saying, well, fuck that. I ain't fucking with no opioids, and I don't want to get no fentanyl or no bad lace pills and end up dying. So they're using other drugs and forgetting, or just not being educated on how fucked up it is to do meth or cocaine and whatever that shit's mixed with, because they're mixing fentanyl into everything right now, and they think they're staying away from the opiates or the fentanyl, and now people are dying at triple the rate on methamphetamine and double the cocaine overdoses in just the last 5 years, y'all. So man, it's just another thing, that is another layer of this whole opiate crisis, y'all. People, younger people trying to turn away from it to other drugs. And now the overdose deaths from those are fucking going up. It's just crazy, man. So here's another story I thought we'd talk about. This one we pulled from the Washington Post. An unusual vending machine is designed to safeguard addicts' health. Now, we've talked on this show before, as you may recall, Dean, about Narcan. I know you're a big fan of getting Narcan out there as much as we can, which I totally fucking agree with. And of course, Narcan is, an antidote for someone suffering with an opiate overdose. It can literally bring them back to life. Yeah. Well, some of those vending machines, they're charging people for the Narcan. Well, not this one. This one is not just Narcan either. here it is. It talks about it a little more in the article. It says one of Washington's most unusual vending machines sits there on 7th and Shaw, in the Shaw neighborhood, and it includes things like Narcan, clean syringes, fentanyl strips to test dope for fentanyl, and it's all free. There's no charge. So, you go to some of these Narcan machines, you got to pay fucking $45, $50 to get a couple doses. Not in this machine. It's all free. And it was placed there by this nonprofit organization called Bread for the City. And so, we've talked a lot about on the show, y'all, the opioid settlement money from all big pharma and the pharmacies who sold everybody up the river on that shit. And I love the idea of these vending machines being out there, but the shit being free so that, people who are out there using strung out on dope can have this stuff available to them at no cost. And, here again is. Another part of the article and a photograph. So I saw that in the news, and I just thought we'd share it. And hopefully this is something that catches on and spreads beyond just DC area and other cities as well. So now, y'all, we want to do some shout outs. On a positive note, want to say hello to a friend of ours in Orlando, Florida. That girl Marla won this certificate from Orange County for her organization that is called Drums in Recovery. And here's a post that Marla put up. I talked to Marla actually on the telephone earlier today, and she posted this just a couple days ago. It says, "Look what Drums in Recovery received from the Orange County Citizens for Children today." And there it is, a certificate of appreciation for her nonprofit organization. And in case you don't know about Drums in Recovery, I highly encourage you to go online, Google them, check them out. And it's all about helping people, y'all. And we talk on this show all the time about the benefits of music therapy, if you will. Not just for people kicking dope, because it was instrumental in helping me to get through the withdrawals and then live and stay clean. I'm such a music guy. Of course, this show is all about music today with that boy Soldani and all the rest that we talked about today. Well, Marla has this nonprofit where they go out and they do like drum circles and things to that nature. She was telling me today they actually just got approved to go into the Veterans Hospital in the Central Florida area, Dean, and conduct this Drums in Recovery circle music thing they do with the veterans, because it is so healing. And it's no joke, y'all, this whole music therapy thing. And Marla actually agreed when I talked to her today to be a guest on the podcast, and we're going to have her on between now and the holiday season. And here's a picture of Marla. Isn't she beautiful? There she is. Old friend of mine, y'all, from back in the day. She, and I know she don't mind me saying this, she's a program girl, and she lives her life 100% drug free and clean. And I just wanted to send a shout out and congratulations to Marla for recognition of her nonprofit, Drums in Recovery. I was telling her on the phone today, I remember when she started that nonprofit. I think she said it was going back, it's been like over 10 years or whatever it's been. And she was kind of nervous about, going full speed at it. And now, look at this, she's getting awards for it. So anyway, want to send another shout out to another friend of mine in the Central Florida area. For those of y'all who may not know, who are watching or listening to the podcast, although I live in California now, here in the Sacramento area, I've been living out here for over a year. I lived in the Central Florida and Orlando area for 30 years. I grew up in the Midwest in Detroit. And then when I was just almost 30, I moved to Central Florida, lived there for 30 years. And so here's another friend of mine from Central Florida who posted this. She celebrated, Michelle Rock Solid is the name that she goes by, celebrated 24 years clean this past week on November the 8th. So congratulations to Michelle. God, I'm so proud to call you friend, man. And then I wanted to show this too because she's a big proponent and cheerleader for this meeting, which for those of y'all in the Central Florida area, you'll know the city of Sanford, which is like a little bit north of Orlando. And there is an NA meeting there called Just for Today. And just yesterday, they had this big celebration to celebrate the 38th year anniversary of this particular NA meeting. And part of the reason I wanted to show this is because this meeting right here is very special to me. When I got clean this time around, y'all, I've been clean a little over 2 years and 8 months. And before I moved out here to California, I was, I kicked in Detroit. I've told my story on this show many, many times. I don't want to recap the whole thing right now, but I kicked back in my hometown up in Detroit. And then I went back to Orlando and lived there for about 6 months before I moved here to California. Well, when I went back to Orlando, I jumped feet first into going back to meetings, and this one was one of them. And it was so helpful to me. I just can't say enough about the people that were going there regularly when I was going, a lot of which I know still go. Shout out to that boy Dennis, if you see this. Him and I have the same clean date. And of course, shout out to my friend Michelle, who's the biggest cheerleader for this meeting. If you live in the Central Florida area, you're looking to get clean, kick dope, or maybe you're a person that lives in the area that's living clean and, likes watching and listening to our podcast. If you've never checked this meeting out, by all means, check it out. It's strategically located, if you will, like I said, north of Orlando. So it's kind of just before you get out of Seminole County into Volusia. So, if you're a person who lives in Deltona, DeBary area, even Daytona, it's not that far of a drive. And then same thing for people who live in Orlando. It's a great meeting, y'all. Can't say enough about it. And congratulations to the Just for Today group on their 38th year anniversary. So now I want to talk about this, and we're coming close to the end of the show, y'all. We're going to wrap it up here in a little bit. With the holiday coming up, Thanksgiving on Thursday, this can be a hard time of the year for a lot of people, especially if they're new in living clean and sober, new in recovery. The holidays conjure up all these old memories sometimes, and they're not always happy memories, or people can start to feel lonely if they're disconnected from family, relationships are strained, whatever the fuck. Well, there are always things going on in around the 12-step programs, whether it's AA, NA, fucking A, as I like to joke around and say. But, this is in fact my home group in Orlando in the Central Florida area. There's a group called Still Working on It. And every year they hold what they call these marathon meetings, or as they call them out here in Cali when it's an NA meeting, a marathon or narathon meeting. But anyway, they always do this big Thanksgiving dinner. It's Still Working on It. And then they have meetings around the clock. They're going to start on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, couple of speakers, and then they'll have the marathon meeting going until 8 o'clock Thanksgiving night. So 24 hours straight, y'all. There'll be meetings going on. And then even after they have the main dinner, there's food there throughout the 24 hour. People always bringing food by. So anyway, there's the details on that one. You can also look that up online if you're in the Central Florida area. Just go on fucking Google and search NA meeting. You'll find still working on it. Okay, also got to send a shout out to my home group in Detroit City. As I always say, man, I love my other home groups. This is the best home group in the world at the East Side Alano Club. They host different 12-step meetings, both AA, NA, fucking A. And I just pulled some pictures from the website. You can see it's a pretty big building, man. And here's inside in the, kind of the lobby or cafe area, whatever the hell you want to call it. You see they got a counter there. They serve food, coffee, soda, snacks, whatever. There's tables around there where people sit around and socialize. You can't see it in this photo, but they have a big screen television. They have video games. They have pool tables. I mean, it is just a great place to hang out. And, I was going to mention, man, it's kind of weird how in different parts of the country, people pronounce things different ways. On the East Coast, there's Alano clubs all over, and that is what they call them, Alano clubs. Out here in Cali, people call them the Alano Club for some reason. Hey, tomato, potato, potato, whatever the fuck, I kind of came from the school where we equated the pronunciation Alano with Alamo, like the Alamo in Texas, the last stand, you know what I mean? And so anyway, this particular meeting in East Detroit, the East Side Alano Club, literally saved my life, y'all. And this room right here is where they host the meeting. They have some rooms in the back and whatnot, but this is the main meeting room where they open the meeting, and you can see they got big tables. They fit a lot of people in there on the weekends. There's a big meeting on the weekend. Sometimes you'll have upwards of 100 people, and they absolutely will have something going on around the clock over the Thanksgiving holiday. So again, if you live in that Metro Detroit area, it definitely is a cool place to check out. And of course, wanted to plug what's going on right here in my own backyard too, y'all. In Sacramento, they have an Alano Club. The North Sac Group is presenting a holiday marathon, and that's starting Wednesday at 6:00, and it'll go all the way till midnight on Thanksgiving Day. And as you can see, it says around the clock meetings, food and fellowship. Once again, y'all, this flyer will be on line if you just Google NA meetings, Sacramento area. Here's another one. I'll be going to this Rebels with a Cause, one of my favorite meetings. This one's actually just about, God, maybe not even 10 minutes up the street from me. And they're having a Thanksgiving meeting, dessert bar, and speaker on Thursday at 7:00. And I should be able to go to that one. Got my daughter and my son-in-law coming by, I think about 2-ish or so, and we'll spend some time together. But then I should be free the evening to go to this one. And then my home group in the Sacramento area, I post online about this all the time. This is a picture of the American River Alano Club, and we have a 10:00 at night meeting there every Thursday and a midnight meeting every Friday. Now, I just wanted to mention, y'all, of course, I'm plugging meetings and locations in Central Florida and Detroit, here in Sacramento. But part of the reason I'm doing that, y'all, I get it. We have viewers and listeners in a lot of places other than just Central Florida, Detroit, and Sacramento. We have people all over the country that check in on this podcast. We were showing some analytics last week that we got from YouTube. Our biggest audience other than the U.S. is over in the U.K. We have people that tune in regularly from Canada and other places. So I get it, man. I get it. Central Florida, Detroit, Sac doesn't necessarily apply to you. But the reason I wanted to show this is because it's the same in any city. So if you're a person that's watching our podcast, listening to our podcast, who is trying to get clean, looking for some hope, looking for some inspiration, information, whatever the hell, just to try to get through another day, try to stay clean, or maybe, you're going through it, it's the holidays and all that, I swear to God, you'll find the same types of things going on in your city, wherever you may be. And it's so easy now with, smartphones and the internet. Just Google AA meeting, NA meeting, 12-step meeting, and enter your city, whatever area you're in. And I promise you, something will come up. You click it, and you'll find a location, and they'll have shit going on, just like what I talked about, that can help you get through any kind of thing you might be going through over the holidays, because the holidays aren't always fun for people, y'all. Sometimes people really do struggle around the holidays because it ain't always good memories. People are estranged, especially if they're new in recovery. They're bringing baggage with them, relationships are damaged, whatever. Well, when you go to these 12-step meetings, as I've often said on this podcast, man, it ain't like you walk in and somebody sprinkles some fucking pixie dust on you and everything's going to be okay. I wish it was that easy. Me and a lot of others wish it was that easy. It ain't. You got work to do. You got footwork, but you will learn some things and you will meet some people who will be your biggest cheerleaders and will be glad that you came and glad for the opportunity to share a message of hope with you. So, I get it, man. It ain't easy going into that first 12-step meeting. It's been a long time for me, but I've never forgotten how hard it is to walk in that first meeting for the first time, admit to yourself and even to others that you got a fucking problem, man. You can't stop by yourself. You just can't do it for whatever reason. Takes a lot to walk in that first meeting, but you know what? Every single person that's ever sat in any 12-step meeting ever had to do it their first time as well. And if we can do it, you can too. There's hope there, y'all. So anyway, moving along, we're going to go into some funny memes, and then I do got another video I want to show. It's just a short one, but we're about to wrap the show up, y'all. And every week we try to wrap it up on a humorous note, and I follow all these memes people post all week online, and of course, with it being Thanksgiving coming up, this was a funny one. That reaction people give after watching your eating capacity on Thanksgiving. And so, man, if you know me and you follow my stuff, you know that, I really do try to live healthy because, I kind of ballooned up and gained a lot of weight. That whole recovery belly thing, people tend to put on a lot of weight when they first get clean and they're actually doing it because you're not eating well leading up to it. And, I very intentionally went on this journey of eating much more healthy and working out on the regular. But when these holidays come up, oh, I can eat, man. And people will look at me sometimes and be like, damn, bro, where you putting it? So anyway, this one caught my attention. And then I thought this was funny, talking about music. There's a little play on that Miley Cyrus tune. I came in like a wrecking ball. I came in like a butterball. And then here's one with Nemo. I could relate to this, man. I could stuff my face until I can't take another bite of turkey and stuffing, potatoes, and everything else. Like, oh, I've had enough, man. I can't eat no more. And then they bring the fucking pie around. And, oh, I can have some dessert. And speaking of pies, man, I have two, not one, but two homemade sweet potato pies waiting for me that my sponsor, Shay, shout out Shay if you see this, made for me. She had pie orders from a couple of people. I know she's been cooking, man. And anyway, I'm going to have two homemade sweet potato pies here for Thanksgiving when my daughter and son-in-law come by. So yeah, man, I can relate to this one as well, y'all. And so then I thought we'd show this one. I thought this was hilarious because, we've all seen the Girl Scouts out there peddling the Girl Scout cookies. And, to be honest, I don't know if it's Girl Scout cookie season, but this one was a good one. Somebody posted, damn, these Girl Scouts are savage, man. They got a whole table set up right outside of the Weight Watchers meeting. And that is pretty savage, man. To go set up outside of the Weight Watchers meeting. Now, I mentioned I have one more video, y'all, and I thought we'd show this one. Shout out to my friend Melissa, by the way, who's been a guest on this podcast before. Some of y'all may remember Melissa Dawn. She, if you recall, is a coach, a life coach for women. And she talked about it a little bit on the podcast. I'm trying to remember what episode it was. You can go back and look at them on the YouTube channel. But anyway, man, I can't wait to have her back on the podcast again to talk about, her life coaching program, because she posts stuff about it regularly, y'all. And I know she is helping a lot of girls and people out there. So shout out to Melissa. But anyway, she posted this, and I told her, I said, oh my God, I'm stealing that, y'all. And we had to show it because it is the holidays now. And we all do eat a lot more this time of year than we ordinarily do. And then, of course, all the different coffee shops come out with their holiday drinks. So we're kind of past the pumpkin spice thing, I guess, for, Halloween and the fall and all that. Now they're getting into the Christmas drinks and the peppermint this and the mocha that or whatever. And just putting it out there, man. Dunkin' Donuts, and you don't pick them. Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, whoever the fuck, they all got them. But there's this guy that I actually follow now too on TikTok. His name's Bobby Parrish, and he has this site called Flav City. And he's a health guru. He's all about eating healthy and living healthy and working out. And he posted this video about this peppermint mocha drink that Dunkin' Donuts has now for the holidays. So let me stop talking about it for the moment, and let's go ahead and show the video, and then we'll talk about it briefly afterwards, and then we'll wrap the show up. But check this out, y'all.
This is the new peppermint mocha swirl here at Dunkin' Donuts. It has a record-breaking 186 grams of added sugar, but grams are kind of hard to visualize sometimes. So visualize this, my friends. It's the same amount of sugar as not that many munchkins, that many. 93 munchkins that are powdered sugar. Need another frame of reference? It has that much sugar. That is 46.5 teaspoons of white cane sugar in a freaking coffee. Now, read the comments sometimes, and people say, Bobby, are they trying to kill us? No, if they kill us, we can't be consumers of their products. They're trying to make us hooked on their food, so we're fat, sick, and nearly dead. That way we keep buying their crappy food, and we keep buying their prescription medication. My friends, this is insane. This is a prime example of profits over people.
Wow, that is insane. Did you see all that sugar? Oh my God. Dean, you mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was that, even with the fentanyl, isn't the whole, mindset, don't kill your best customers. And when he said that, that's what it reminded me of. And that is a lot of fucking sugar. As that boy G, my son, said when we had him on the show talking about fitness, would you rather eat your calories or would you rather drink them? Well, I, for one, would much rather eat them. And that's like an insane amount of sugar in one drink. Wouldn't you agree, bro? It's crazy.
I don't think that much sugar even goes into all those donuts. I think that's a little tilted, but yeah, I can understand what he's saying about being in a drink. I can't get over how much people ingest sugar. Just I've even like the diet stuff. It tastes super sweet, too sweet. I might buy a like a cran grape juice that's like diet kind of thing,
right.
And it's got like no sugar, no carbs, no whatever, but it's so sweet. I water it down, and I water it down like 3-to-1 water against the actual drink because it's just too sweet. and
Yeah.
and and of course they want you to, just as bad. They want you to get keep that taste of it's got to be like dipped in sugar, sugar dipped in sugar
Crazy.
kind of thing. And it's just it's so crazy that people just kind of like they just expect things to be that sweet. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well, we talked about it a while back on this show that studies have been done, and there are certain research groups that say sugar is just as addicting, if not more, as cocaine. And they've done these
yeah, sure.
brain imaging, things where when people ingest sugar, it excites and they show the colors of the same areas of the brain as if someone was doing cocaine, and it truly is addicting. I will say, even on my journey of eating healthier, I was hooked on them fucking Starbucks caramel macchiatos with the extra drizzle for shizzle my nizzle. And come to find out, I had no idea at the time, but after the fact, bro, them have like 60 grams of sugar in them too. And I was drinking like 3, 4 of them a day. No fucking wonder I ballooned up to 180. It's
I
crazy,
just
man.
I would encourage anybody that kind of is shocked by that think about that pumpkin pie you're making when you're putting like 2 cups of sugar in it or something. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the actual, but why don't try cutting the amount of sugar going into that pie,
I wouldn't even
by
notice.
cut it down to a third of that. I've done this. And it tastes great.
Same,
It
if
tastes
not
it's
better. Yeah.
sweet, but it's not like so like you're literally pouring syrup down your throat. It's like it tastes good, and sweet can just be just enough sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yet they dump in just mountains of sugar in these recipes, and I make an egg custard.
Hmm.
And it doesn't ask for a lot. It's a small batch. It doesn't ask for a lot of sugar, and might ask for a half a cup of sugar. But I use like a quarter cup or less than a quarter cup,
Yeah.
or I use even less than that, and then I put a little bit of artificial in there just so I can have a little sugar and a little of that. And I gotta tell you, you can't tell.
Yeah, but
You can't
well,
tell that you're using a fraction of the sugar.
exactly. But like Bobby was just saying in that video, though, Dean, when you go to places like Dunkin' or
Oh
Starbucks
yeah.
or, whatever, they do it on purpose because they want you to get hooked on, like, oh my God,
I
that was so good. And so you were coming back for more and more and more. It's like sugar is a fucking drug. There
Yeah.
ain't no doubt
Well,
about it, man.
go to a place like Nashville, go to Tennessee, go to a restaurant and order iced tea, sweet tea, and it'll be like, you'll have
Oh,
that same thing. You'll have this much sugar, this much
yeah.
tea. And
Yeah.
and you go, how no.
Yeah.
People are so used to the taste of sugar to the nth degree that they just
Yeah.
don't know any different. And of
Yeah.
course the people making recipes, sure, I'm not sure it's as evil as that, but I just think that people are just so used to, you know Coca-Cola being so sweet and this being so sweet and that being so sweet, and it's just like, why don't you try and cut like 75% of the sugar out of the recipe, try it again and see what it tastes like, and you'd
Well,
be
you know what?
surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, well, going back, you mentioned soda. It's like going back to what, G taught me. My son G, who's the fitness enthusiast. We've had him on the show a couple of times, and he did say that to me. It's something he learned. And he said, Dad, do you want to eat your calories or drink them? And so he got me off the regular soda. I never been a huge soda drinker anyways. I know some people, man, they got the fucking big gulp all
Yeah.
day, every day, or they go through, a 12 pack of soda a day. But, the average 12-ounce can of soda, pick it Coke, Pepsi, whatever the fuck, has like 7 teaspoons of sugar in it. That would be like drinking 1 can of Coke and taking 7 teaspoons of sugar in a row. That's like crazy. I couldn't tell you the last time I drank a
It's
regular soda.
probably
In fact, I did
yeah.
a little promo reel just to kind of get attention for last week's podcast. And I thought, what can I do to get people's attention? So I did the proverbial like taste test, and I put a Diet Coke and a Coke Zero side by side. And that was kind of, the thumbnail for the reel. People saw it. And so, I got, God, fucking hundreds of views on that thing. And so, I said, hey, y'all, I'm going to do the Diet Pepsi, Coke Zero, or Diet Coke, Coke Zero challenge. And then, of course, plug the podcast. But I did do the taste test. And I liked them both, they're not that, like you said, they're not that bad. I happen to like Coke Zero better. I think it had more of a cola taste to it.
Yeah.
And then there's people say, "Oh, I ain't drinking that shit, man. That stuff has that fucking aspartame. That shit causes cancer or whatever the fuck." And I'm thinking to myself, really, really, you're gonna try to justify
Yeah.
drinking them
That
fucking
was
big gulps of all
saccharin.
them
That
cans
was
of soda with all
saccharin.
that
Yeah.
sugar. You'd have to drink a case of soda a day, diet soda a day, for that aspartame or whatever the fuck it is to cause any cancer. And if you're drinking that much
Oh,
soda,
that
you
it's
probably
just
shouldn't be anyway.
it's just the whole idea
Yeah.
of not needing to have such a sweet taste.
Yeah. Well, we've
Not
been sold
not
up
I
with
mean because
everything.
you
They
can
put
get it
sugar in everything.
you can get sweet without, like I said, in 10% of the sugar.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a whole sugar versus artificial sweetener thing. I've used stevia. I like stevia.
That stuff. Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be one versus the other. It just
Well,
means get off the whole, use
Yep. And you know
chocolate chip
what?
cookies. The sweet should be in the chocolate chips, not so much the
Yeah.
cookie. It's
Well,
like,
you know what? We need to do another episode on fitness and stuff, because talking
Yeah.
about sugar, we touched on this a few episodes back where, there's different types of sweeteners in addition to the diet stuff we're talking about, stuff with real sugar. You got like these corn syrup sweeteners that are so addicting, as opposed to like natural sweetness in fruits and things to that nature. You got to have some sugar in your diet, but if you're going to have, good sugar, you want to eat fruits and strawberries and bananas, things like that, not this, fucking Twinkies or ding dongs or Dunkin' Donuts peppermint mochas. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Yeah.
a lot of people were commenting on that post he made that, man, he's got balls. He literally did that video right inside of a Dunkin' Donuts, which I thought was kind of funny too. But hey, shout out to Bobby Parrish. Thanks for the heads up on that, bro, on how much sugar. And thanks again to our friend Melissa for posting that video on her site, because I follow her. And again, for all our girls out there, all our viewers that are girls, if you're looking for a great female life coach, go check her out on Insta. It's Empower with Melissa. POWERWITH, Melissa. Empower with Melissa. And again, we're hoping to have her back on the show as a guest a little bit down the road. So we're just about done, y'all. We want to say a shout out to this guy right here. Optimistic, California rapper and hip hop artist, Optimistic. Some of y'all, if you follow my social media closely, may have picked up that earlier in the week I posted that he was going to be a guest on tonight's show. And I know he felt horrible about it, but he had to cancel a couple of days ago because he's got some kind of vocal cord thing going on. And the doctors ordered him not to speak for like 5 days in a row. There is a horrible cold going on around here. If you remember, Dean, I had a bad cold a little over a week ago. I'm over it, but I'm still feeling a little bit of it. I don't know if that's what he got, but anyway, he promised us, he'll reschedule sometime, maybe in early December. And just want to send a shout out to that boy, Optimistic, and hope you're feeling better, bro. And also let all our viewers and listeners know we didn't forget about him. It's just he had to postpone due to some health challenges with his vocal cords. All the more reason we want to send a shout out and thank you again to our featured guest tonight that we had on the front end of the show, that boy Soldani that I've met at the Future of Artists Summit, and we've become buddies now. What a great guy, and what a talented artist, man. So cool to have him on the show. Thanks again, bro. We really appreciate it. And with all that said, we are going to go ahead and wrap up tonight's episode of the Dare Me podcast. And just let you know again that if you're going through hell, struggling with addiction, maybe you came across our podcast tonight, you jumped on board, maybe for the first time, check it out, see what this whole Dare Me podcast is all about. If you're struggling, looking for a way out, you're going through hell, as we like to say, keep fucking going. Just keep going, man. You'll come out the other side. If I can get clean and live clean and stay clean, you can too. And so one other thing I wanted to mention real quick, since we are talking about the holidays and all, y'all, we will be on next Sunday. Dean and I talked about our holiday schedule. So even though next weekend will, in fact, be a holiday weekend, Thanksgiving, of course, is Thursday and all that, we'll kind of do a Friendsgiving version edition of the Dare Me podcast next Sunday. So we will be on live. And then looking ahead into December, Christmas Eve is on a Sunday night. New Year's Eve is on a Sunday night. And we thought about taking them nights off, but you know what? As I mentioned earlier on the show, y'all, the holidays are a time when a lot of people with substance abuse disorder, addiction, alcoholism, whatever the fuck you want to call it, struggle. They go through challenges. They may feel lonely. Maybe they're estranged from family, feel like they're missing out. Everybody party time and all that other stuff. Well, guess what, y'all? We're going to go live on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And, you think we go along with some of these shows now, we're going to do like some marathon versions. And we're going to open up the phone lines, allow you to call in. We'll put a link in the chat room. We can bring you on camera. So, yeah, man, we hope to hear from anybody, any of our friends, any of our followers, whether you're in the program or not, you're living clean and sober, not just friends of Dean, friends of mine, family, anybody. We'd love to hear from you when we do those shows. So again, those are going to be fun. And we're going to talk about everything under the fucking sun on Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. We'll talk about music, things in the news, and all kinds of other fun stuff, living healthy, and all that other stuff. So anyhow, with all that said, Dean, I just want to ask before we wrap it up, is there anything you'd like to add? Want to thank you again, by the way, for all your hard work on the show tonight, Rockstar, as usual. You got plans for Thanksgiving, by the way? I know I asked you on the front end of the show. What are you doing for Thanksgiving, man?
Yeah. I'm gonna go hang out with the fam and probably eat too much. So
yeah. Well, like we just talked about, man, eat your calories. Don't drink them with those crazy sugary drinks we were just talking about. So anyway, well, hey, Dean, have a great holiday, bro. Look forward to talking to you again on the podcast next Sunday. And for all the rest of y'all, have a great holiday as well. And we'll talk to you next Sunday. Have a great holiday, y'all. We'll see you next time on the Dare Me podcast.